We'd like to thank you today for coming to our RealityWorks webinar. The webinar that we're going to be talking about today is called Getting Started with the RealCareer Welding Solutions, a guide for program implementation. Thank you for taking the time today to be with us and want to get into this a little bit, talking about really how to implement using the RealityWorks welding products to then actually implement and put into your program. So to get started today, I just want to do a quick walkthrough of the RealCareer Welding Solutions. This is a 21st century welding training methodology that we have put in place using our different products that we have, from virtual reality, moving into guided reality, and then quality inspection. And when you really look through this, you really see the beginning is our GuideWeld VR product, our virtual reality welding simulation, is really to simulate and get that understanding of proper welding technique, understanding how to do different welds, how to make sure you're doing them correctly without any waste or any material usage that doesn't need to be used in that beginning mode. And then also honing your skills using simulation to really understand proper welding technique. Then moving into the guided reality, or what we call is the replicate mode. Now you go into an actual welding booth. You're doing live welds, and in this case, you're using our GuideWeld Live product. It's real welding guidance system in the helmet that allows you to see if you're doing your work angle, travel angle, and your speed correctly while doing live welds. From there, you move on into our quality inspection, which really is that evaluate. We have both weld defect kit and a bend tester. In this case, the weld defect kit helps with that evaluation or that visual inspection of your product. From there, then you have our bend tester going through guided bends, making sure that you could be qualified on certain welds through the evaluation of doing proper testing and inspection in a guided bend test. So these are our different products that we have, bringing you the RealCareer Welding Solutions. Really boils down to two different areas. We have the welding skill training with our GuideWeld VR and GuideWeld Live products, and then we have our welding quality training with our weld defects kit and our bend tester. So it really goes from gaining that skill level and then also the quality level within welding, and really using our products in a methodology that you can work and walk right through. So with that, another piece of this is our RealCareer Employability Skills. As you walk through the training and the skill development, and then also the quality development within welding, the other piece that comes in is the need for employability skills, actually getting the job then with the skill that you have. And so we also have a RealCareer Employability Skills, which is a complete unit on employability skills that include teacher guides, workplace scenario cards, and then workbooks, so your welders can then actually go into the workforce and be able to get the job and gain the employment that they need with the skills that they have. Now, what I really want to focus on in the next few minutes here is the implementation into your training environment. How do you then implement this into your environment? Now, again, it all depends on what products you have, and the way our products work is that you can have our virtual simulator, and if you move into the defect kit or into bend test or into the GuideWeld Live, depending on what your needs are in your classroom. But what we want to talk about today is the implementation into your training environment. So just to give you an overview here, I want to really focus in on the different areas that we have within the product and kind of putting together. Now, not every classroom looks exactly the same, but a lot of the different classrooms that we've been in include both your classroom setting and the classroom training, and then your actual lab, your welding lab, your manufacturing lab, the area that you do these different things. So it really starts with that classroom lab. Inside of the classroom, we have the ability to train in-class curriculum. We actually, every single product we have comes with the curriculum, so you can do in-class, if you want to say book work, PowerPoint slides, presentations, getting that knowledge in their heads and understanding before they get that hands-on work. Now, In the classroom setting then, or in your computer labs, you can do the virtual welding simulation lab. With Guideweld VR, you can set up the computers that you have, the workstations you have with VR, to be able to do MIG and stick virtual welding, getting them to understand how to do live welding before they go do live welding in the virtual world. Get them what we call is that virtual arc time, allowing that your students really get a lot of arc time understanding proper welding technique before they go and do it on actual metal. From there, then, you have the live welding booths. In this case, your virtual welding booths here move to the real thing once you get into your shop. In this case, our Guideweld Live product is actually a guidance system that is in the helmet. So you put on an actual auto-darkening helmet. You're able to then use your welding machines that you have there, and this will guide your students to make sure they're having proper welding technique in the areas of the work angle, travel angle, and then their welding speed. So as they're doing it, it gives immediate feedback, making sure that they're not wasting materials, not wasting and making bad decisions or having incorrect habits while they're doing live welds. Then once they're done in the lab there, they can move into the visual inspection using the RealCareer Welding Defects Kit, allowing them to go from the lab and actually doing welds to then see, okay, where do my welds match up? How well did I do? What are the problems that I need to be working on? What defects that I might have that I need to then correct? And so they look at their welds and they can actually use the weld defect kit to be able to really kind of assess and visually inspect their own welds. From there, then, we have the destructive weld testing. This is the RealCareer Bend Tester, allowing you then, when you're ready, to actually test like you would if you're going to get a job. And so it's really that introduction to getting students to understand what they need to do, what is expected of them when they do actual welds to able to get a job. Most places that they would go to do it get into welding, they're going to have to do some sort of a training test, being able to show that they can actually do the welds that are being asked of them. And so in this case, they can replicate that right in the classroom. Do bend test, not only, and the great thing about the bend tester, not only are you doing the bend test, but you're learning how to set up the welds, how to actually do a welds. So then before you actually get to the weld part, you're not disqualified because you did your weld prep incorrectly. And then actually going through the welding bending, and then once you're done bending, actually seeing, would this have qualified? Could I actually get a job based on my skill that I have? Now, moving right along here, one of the things that we have is we have some recommendations. Again, this is just recommendations on what we've seen in the sense of how many welds units you might need. You have a smaller class, you may need less VR units, and then live unit, weld defect kit, and a bend tester. As you get more and more students, you're going to want to have them being engaged. And so the more you can engage your students, the better. The more VR units you might need, the more weld live units you might need, and then also defect kit and bend testers. All this then is really focusing on how you can use it in the classroom, how you can engage your students, how can they be best suited to be able to get to and do their welds. In this case, in the classroom setting, to get your students in, maybe partnering, maybe individually, actually doing welds, both in MIG and stick, allowing them to be able to really gain the understanding and get the help, because every weld they do in the virtual world, it then has a score for them. It shows those students what they are doing and how they can actually improve their welds before they go into the shop. From then, there, go into the shop and actually use the Guideweld Live product here. Actually, in the class, in the lab setting, in the booth, put our Guideweld Live product in there and actually have them get that help. We call it kind of a training wheels methodology, giving them that training wheels to make sure that they're doing it, excuse me, correctly every single time. From there, they can go into the booth with just a regular welding helmet and not have that feedback and kind of graduate into that. But make sure, now some students again too will be able to jump right to no helmet at all, because sometimes we call them our high flyers, or students who really gain that understanding quickly, and then some will need that extra help. Instead of you, the instructor, having to be there all the time for them, this is a product that helps, a resource that helps your students gain the understanding and knowledge they need. Then we have our semester implementation guide. This again is just an opportunity for you to use it both in one semester time period or over a whole year. Depending on how you set up your class, you have the ability to do in-class curriculum studies. You have the ability to introduce VR both in stick and MIG, and then introduce live both in stick and MIG, and then also the visual inspection with our welding defect kit, and destructive bend testing with our bend tester. So all these are involved here, as well as safety exams that we bring forward for you. We have curriculum that kind of gives you the understanding and make sure that your students are all on the same level, both from safety and then also basic welding knowledge. So they all are being able to implement into the classroom and use the products and gain the understanding they need for being better welders in the classes that they're in. So through all this, really starting out in the classroom setting, moving from virtual reality into live welding with our guidance system of GuideWeld Live, then doing in visual inspection, understanding what are they doing incorrectly and how to correct it, both by their machine or themselves personally, and then ending with our bend testing, being able to say, could I get a job and could I get employment through quality testing and destructive testing, making sure that, yep, I would be able to qualify for these types of welds. So from all this, we've seen success at many different levels. In this case, we've had it in any places from employment skill training, industry training, correctional facilities are using these products. We've also seen huge amount of success at technical college, high schools, and middle schools. Using these products help our instructors to give the resources and the training that their students need. It helps those instructors with classroom management. It helps those instructors with being able to gauge the understanding that their students have. It helps those instructors save on costs and save on time and increase the ability to help other students because of the tools that we have here for them to use. So training success is there. And the reason this is so important is, again, going back to this need for welders. The skills gap is still there. These are different products that help reduce that skills gap. It trains your students up, it trains your welders up to decrease the skills gap and increase their skill. There's a need for them, and there's continual need for them as the baby boom generation moves out, and the need is going to be there. These are good paying, high quality jobs for our students to be able to move into. So to kind of end our time here, just want to recap on the RealCareer Welding Solutions, the 21st century welding training methodology here. Really starting with simulate, move into replicate, and evaluate. In the implementation of this product, you then have the ability to go ahead and look at these products and say, okay, how can I put them into my classroom? How can then I show them and have them fit in my classroom with the type of teaching that I do? I can put them into my lab and have my students start in that world of virtual reality, move them into the actual welding booth and have them get that ability to have GuideWeld Live and make sure that my students are doing the speed correctly that they need, the work angle, the travel angles that they need, and then let's evaluate them and getting those into. Now, every class and every school is a little different and what their needs are, so you can buy these individually or you can buy it as a whole methodology, training methodology for your needs. All these come with curriculum, with warranties, with product support help, with webinars and videos to help you be successful in your classroom. All these products are here for you to help you gain the needed resources that you can then have successful classes and successful students in the welding field. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, we can definitely answer those questions. And if you want more information, please contact us at information@realityworks.com or toll free at 800-262-3806. Thank you for your time and really appreciate you taking the time to go through our different products here at RealityWorks.